everybody, I'm Jen Ives, Associate Director of Meetings for AMS. I'm here to give a little bit more information to you session chairs who will be helping us during our virtual annual meeting coming up in January. First, I'd like to say thank you so much for all of the work you've already done confirming the participation of your speakers in your sessions. Next, we'd like you to start familiarizing yourself with Zoom Webinar. Please watch this short video on information about Zoom Webinar and how you will access it for the meeting.
All right, good day, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about Zoom and how to join for your session. In the next couple of weeks, my team and I will start sending out all the links for the individual sessions. Something to note is if you have multiple sessions, you will be receiving multiple emails. So once it is time for your session, simply click on the link in the email. If you have it set that way, this link will open up Zoom automatically on your computer. Now, the technician will start the webinar roughly 20 minutes before your session start time. So you won't be able to join until they're in, but they should be in at the 20-minute mark. So we ask everybody to join early so that we can test your audio, test your video, and make sure we have everybody in attendance for that session. Now, as soon as you get into the webinar, you're going to see the Start Webinar button at the very top. What we're in right now is called a practice session, and that's really a green room so that we can test everybody, make sure everything is good to go before we open the room up to the attendees. So please avoid this button at all costs. The technician in your individual room will start the webinar at the appropriate time. It's usually at about 1 minute out from session scheduled start time. So the first thing we want to do is we want to click on this participants button here at the bottom. And as you can see, it's named me the wrong name for this session. So my name is not AMS01 Producer. So what we're going to do is hover over it. We're going to click on the More button, then we're going to click on Rename. So go ahead and just type in your full name and hit Enter. After that, we want to go down to the very bottom. We want to make sure that when we first join session, we are unmuted and our video is started. Now on the audio button, you do have several choices for your microphone and your speaker. So just set it to what your particular computer is using. I'd say odds are it's going to be the internal mic on a laptop, or if you have an external mic, you want to make sure that is sourced properly. Again, with speakers, if you're using the computer speakers or if you're using some Bluetooth headphones or something like that, just make sure it's set to the proper input and output. On the video tab, most computers only have one camera, so it should be set to your webcam. Something to keep in mind, if it is a newer laptop and it has the slide over the webcam, please make sure that slide is open so that we can actually see you. Now, as far as help, if you're having problems with either of these things, the technician will be in the room. There will also be a volunteer in the room. So down here at the bottom, you have your chat box, and you can chat with individuals specifically with them, or you can chat with the group as a whole. So all Q&A for the session is going to be ran through the same thing. So we're going to have it set to all panelists and attendees. That way attendees can ask questions and the session chair or moderator can read the question out to the individual presenter when it's time. But you can also chat one-on-one with somebody if you need to get something figured out or say hi. And that is Zoom. If you have any questions in the meantime, you can always reach out to amsvirtual@projection.com, and I'll be happy to walk you through anything I can help with. Thank you very much.
Next, I'd like you to go to the AMS website and look for the information for session chairs and make sure you view our AMS tips for attending virtually. This document, previewed here, has information on making sure your connection, your audio, and your video controls are the best they can be for your session. It also has more resources and FAQ about Zoom Webinar should you need them. Next, I'd like you to mark your calendars for the session chair training sessions that will happen on the 5th of January, the 6th of January, and the 7th of January. The 5th of January is for anyone involved in a lightning session. The 6th is for anyone who's involved in a keynote session, and the 7th is involved for anyone in one of our high-level presidential sessions. If you don't know whether your session is a lightning session or a keynote session, stay tuned and I'll tell you the difference. Also, I want to remind you to please register for the meeting by the 8th of January. If you haven't registered by the 8th of January, you won't be able to get into the platform or perform your duties as session chair, so we'll begin steps to start replacing you. So please remember to register by the 8th. Really, I highly encourage you to register by January 4th because that is the day our virtual meeting platform launches. On that day, you'll be able to get in and build your agenda, and also you'll be able to view any pre-recorded homework video files, and you'll be able to view anything related to the speakers that are part of your session. That's the best way to prepare and come ready for your live session day. If you need help with any of this along the way, I encourage you to email meetings@ametsoc.org. Okay, here's our difference between lightning talks and keynote talks. Our lightning talks are 5 minutes of live presentation time. We chose to do this so that we could spend less time in front of screens during the actual live annual meeting week and focus those sessions, those lightning sessions, on Q&A and discussion only. Keynote talks are longer than 5 minutes. We realize that not everybody fits in that mold of that mostly Q&A. Those presenters need to present live, so we are allowing that, and so any keynote talk is longer than 5 minutes. So if you're wondering whether your session is a keynote talk or a keynote session or a lightning session, look in the online program and just look for the durations of the talk within. 5 minutes is lightning, more than 5 minutes is keynote. Your lightning talk presenters, as I mentioned, have uploaded a pre-recorded homework video file that's 15 minutes long. So that's their normal presentation file that they normally would have given in an in-person meeting. We're encouraging everyone to watch that ahead of time, especially you, our session chairs, so that they can come prepared for the live session. Because your lightning session will consist of mostly Q&A discussion about that pre-recorded video file. Now I'll give you a little bit more information about what to expect during each kind of session. For any session, you as the session chair are charged with giving an introduction and a welcome at the beginning of the session. We've allotted 10 minutes for this at the beginning of every session so that you can make an adequate welcome and also make some housekeeping announcements. At an in-person meeting, we can normally make signs or somehow alert the rest of our attendees about certain things, things to remember and tips and tricks, but during a virtual meeting we can't do that. So we're using that welcome time to make sure our attendees have all of the information they need. So please do make sure you remember to set aside that 10 minutes at the beginning of the session to let people get in and get settled, do your welcome, do some housekeeping notes, and then start introducing your speakers. In a lightning session, you'll introduce your first speaker. You'll be unmuted. You'll have your camera on. And then the speaker will come on and give their 5-minute talk. During their 5-minute talk, technical support will be charged with showing the speaker's summary slide, which they have uploaded ahead of time. Their deadline is the 3rd of January to do that. And then the speaker will give their quick summary. Really quick, jog the memory of all the audience, because we're operating under the assumption that they've already viewed the pre-recorded homework video files. So after they jog everybody's memory, then they're going to go straight into the Q&A and discussion. So that's where you come in. You'll turn on your mic and you'll read questions that have been entered into the Zoom webinar chat. We suggest that maybe you work with your co-session chair. Every session has been assigned 2 session chairs so that you can split the duties assigned to session chairs and also work on, maybe one person vetting the questions and the other person asking them out loud, because monitoring the chat sometimes does get a little busy during a virtual meeting. You'll ask the questions aloud to the speaker, who will then answer aloud, and then you'll move on. Once the 5 minutes is up for that speaker, it is your job to signal that their time is up by turning your camera on so that you can introduce the next speaker. We suggest that you keep time on your phone or on a clock so that you keep everything running on time, and we are respectful of the other speakers and of the audience's time, and we don't run over. Because in between every session, we do have time set aside for more on-demand content viewing if people need to catch up. Also, just breaks, everybody needs them. And there also are exhibit hours and poster sessions as well. Keynote talk is very much like the lightning talk. The only other difference is that the technical support person will be showing the full slide deck, and your speaker will be giving their full presentation, whether it's 15 minutes, 30, 60, whatever's been allotted in the online program, and you can check for that. Another thing to remember that during the meeting is that we're scheduling a session chair tag up each day at 9 o'clock Eastern. That should take no longer than 30 minutes. But during that time, we're going to troubleshoot and let you know about any issues that may have arisen that you may need to know for any sessions that you have that day. So please do remember to log into that. We'll be sending invites to that starting on January 4th so that you can log in and talk to us. That's also a great time for you to give us feedback, or maybe let the other session chairs know about tips and tricks and lessons learned, because in virtual meetings, we're all learning, and we're all doing this, for one or maybe the first time. So, please make sure you attend that. You're also going to want to make sure you log into the Zoom webinar 20 minutes before the scheduled start time to be sure that you're able to troubleshoot your audio, your video, and just get settled. Make sure all your speakers are there before the session begins. Also, I want you to remember that you need to use the Zoom webinar link that we'll email to you starting on the week of January 4th, and don't enter through the virtual meeting platform. If you enter through the virtual meeting platform, you won't be able to unmute your microphone or show your camera or perform your duties as session chair. So yeah, follow that link for the sessions you are assigned for as session chair. You'll receive a different link and a different email for every session for which you're assigned as session chair. If you need help during the session, reach out to the technical support person or the volunteer who you'll meet during that 20 minutes before the session starts. Or you can chat to them through the Zoom webinar chat, and you can send it to panelists only. That's also a great way for you to interact with your other session chair as you work through things during the session. If you need help before or after your session, you can contact the program chair for your conference, who will put you in touch with the AMS meeting staff, or you can email meetings@ametsoc.org directly. As session chair, I know you'll be quite busy, preparing for your own sessions. So I'd like to let you know that recordings from your session and any others will be available in the agenda in the virtual meeting platform within 48 hours of that session taking place, and it will be available there for 3 months. So that you have plenty of time to go back and see anything that you may have missed or wanted to revisit. After that, we'll archive everything back over to the online program forever, just like we always do for all of our other meetings. And that's all you need to know about being a session chair. If you have any other questions, please reach out to us at meetings@ametsoc.org. And thank you so much. We could not do this meeting without you, and we appreciate all of the hard work and your flexibility as we work through this new virtual meeting world. Thanks, and we hope to see you in person very soon.